everyone. I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. You must be wondering what would be today's session. You're right. You don't expect that we can accomplish things just in a moment, or it will be a momentary accomplishment. No, it's not so easy to achieve anything that you really want to excel in that particular field. It takes time, right? As it says, practice makes anything perfect. So as you practice again and again, definitely you will reach the goal. Like some of you must be worried, and several students expressed their concerns and opinions on that particular topic aspect in grammar in the English language. So they came and they have several inhibitions, and they are not very much confident of their accomplishment and their learning or achievement in this sentence completion. So what makes actually a whole product ready is finally again the accomplishment of sentence. So when you construct proper sentences, definitely you can be sure of your content and you can be really confident about what you're talking. So what is very important? Of course, just like a body, every part and organ is important, and collectively they coordinate with each other and they function effectively. In the same way, this sentence completion is one such part, and not only the sentence completion, but vocabulary and then synonyms part of it, synonyms, antonyms. Also, other grammatical aspects like active, passive voice. Like on the other day we discussed very comprehensively how we can really easily understand and try to solve active and passive voice questions, right? So all these are components in one body, right? So now before we dwell into different aspects, and before we dwell on the other aspects of our today's presentation, I would like to make you hear and make you understand that this will be very easier if you practice it thoroughly and effectively. So don't lose hope and don't lose confidence. So let's get started. So what are we dealing? Like till now we did several parts, right? Sentence completion, like we are taking each and every bit and we are trying to work out on those questions, and we try to pull in all the threads of different different corners, and we are trying to put it into one whole product. And it's just like if body has several components, and just all these aspects like sentence completion, grammar and other things are the same. So now, without much discussion on this topic, let us start looking at these questions very comprehensively, in detail, without any doubt, and how we can really choose the options. So I'll discuss as and when we discuss each and every point, that how you can choose and rely on one particular option, right? You can rely on particular options provided you have clarity over the questions that have been asked, right? For example, you can eliminate other options given to you, and you can really mix and match. You can try to see how you can see the correlation, and how you can really find any relevance to the question word that is asked there, right? So you can, and sometimes what happens is you can go for more than one option. So in that case, sometimes you can mark both, or you can mark any one if in case both the options are right. So you can do anything according to your convenience, only if the answer is right and you think that answer is very much right and sure, right? And if you're so confident, then go ahead without much further delay. Right. So now the question number, like we yesterday in the past session, we saw to that all these questions are based on the suitable word. So you have to understand the context, and if you can understand the meaning, it will be very easier for you to just to choose and get the answer for the questions to the questions asked. Right. For example, there's a question like this: his blank of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. His dash of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So A, B, C, D. Exposure, clarity, exposition, for picturization. So you may think, or you may ask, madam, how can it be a sentence completion question? Couldn't be, or wouldn't be a vocabulary question? Of course, you're partially right. Maybe the options given and the pattern structure of this question looks like vocabulary based questions or synonym based questions, but here the purpose and objective is different. Here they're trying to ask the they're trying to ask the suitable and the word that can really fit into the context there. So that which you can fill the gap, the question gap, the sentence, which that can really suffice the need of the question. So that's how you have to see, right? For example, his blank of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So, like the options given: exposure, clarity, exposition, picturization. So, exposure, clarity, exposition, picturization. So, when you think that exposure, let's see the first option given here. So, try to fit there and try to see whether it is right or not. Like his exposure of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. Secondly, his clarity of the topic was so good the students had few doubts to raise at the end. His exposition of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. Fourth, his picturization of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So what's basically here there? His exposure of the topic was so good. Exposure, like the environment where you give them enough knowledge that is already associated with the task that you've been doing. So this kind of exposure, like openness to the problem, openness to the concept, openness to the illustration. So you try to show them, you give them opportunities for them to experience and witness something that you're looking forward. Like you say that you give exposure, any exposure, the sort of exposure that you give is very much sufficient there, and that they are able to comprehend the question and they're able to answer it. So you create so many opportunities there. You give them opportunities, you give them a privilege to experience that and try to get associated and get familiarized with the context, and then you can answer the question, right? So that is the point there. So his clarity of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. His clarity of the topic, so clarity so much so that the students had few doubts to raise at the end. So that's very important. His clarity of the topic was so good that students had few doubts, and it's very near. It's not so irrelevant, but perhaps you can think that it is a little bit nearer to that one. Okay, so his clarity of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. Next, third option, his exposition of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So exposition of the topic, again, this is something like you just keep everything open, and you try to see that is like you can see the right and wrong and everything that is there, very much there. So you discuss everything in detail. Again, exposition includes discussion in detail. So everything clearly without any doubt. So everything is clearly discussed. And then fourthly, his picturization of the topic was so good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So when their exposition, they have this picturization, like they're able to picturize something. That means like they're able to imagine something, a pictorial, imagination of any concept that is being discussed there. So his picturization of the topic was good that students had few doubts to raise at the end. So now you tell me which is more relevant. It's like, don't you think exposition of the topic was so good that students had a few doubts to raise at the end? So obviously, exposition. So like they're given a detailed description of it and discussion of it, and they're able to involve very much. So option C is more relevant. Option C is the appropriate one. So you can go with the option C. Next. To the owners of the paper, the new owners of the paper changed the blank completely. The new owners of the paper changed the blank completely. Layout, outlook, outlay, outlet. Layout, outlook, outlay, outlet. So the new owners of the paper change the layout completely, or the new owners of the paper change the outlook completely. The new owners of the paper change the outlay completely. The new owners of the paper change outlet completely. Now, what is the meaning of this layout? The external, the skeleton of it, like the structure of it, the pattern of it, the action plan. If it's ready and you think that is very much open, and that is neatly open, and it is neatly structured. Okay, what is the plan of that? What's the plan of it? And so you discuss all that. You think it, you lay out a structure or skeleton of it, the outline of it, peripheral structure or the surface level picture is ready there. So that's outlet, our layout. Okay, layout. Next B is outlook. Outlook of it isn't just a look, outlook, how overall it appears. And outlay is this, again, it is not so easy. It's a very irrelevant option, and outlet is some kind of things that you can expect. So option A is relevant as far as the options given here, and you can go with your option A as the right answer. Next, for nations conscious of the lack of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policy. For nations conscious of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. A. Incidents. B. Perils. 3. Potentialities. 4. Redundancies. Incidents, perils, potentialities, 4. Redundancies. For nations conscious of what? Incidents of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. For nations conscious of the perils of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. For nations conscious of the potentialities of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policy. For nations conscious of the redundancies of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. So now, why do you think the options are very easy? Like, do you think, like, you see, all these are again confusing and related. You can see for nations conscious of the modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. Like is it like for nations conscious of incidents of modern war? Incidents is some kind of like it's happening over there, and we don't think that for nations conscious of the incidents of modern war, we don't generally take that option. Next, perils, danger. Okay, danger situations. For nations conscious of the perils of modern war, peace must be the goal of their foreign policy. No, perils, dangerous. Like they are not conscious of the dangers of modern war. Actually, if you can think of it, for nations conscious of the or conscious of more potentialities of modern war. Here comes the problems. Something, the profits of it, or the loss of it, and what will be some weaknesses there. Like you can expect some kind of like good and bad, and you can sort of like you can think that these are these can't be one, and definitely you can predict some bad can happen, some good can happen, so you can see the strengths of it and weaknesses of it basically. So in that context, you can use the word potentialities of modern war. Peace must be the goal of there. And then redundancies, you know about it. It's like again a repetition of something. So obviously this is this is unfit there. And you can go with the option C, potentialities of modern war. Peace must be the goal of their foreign policies. So that is the right answer. Potentialities of modern war. So you can go with the option C. Next, a son who is unable to look his father in the face of what? A guilty, B arrogant, timid, C D ashamed. Guilty, arrogant, timid, ashamed. So what can be a person who is unable to look, somebody who cannot look into somebody's eyes, or somebody who is not is unable to look at somebody's face. The face is what, like, is it guilty? Okay, now arrogance of that person. Somebody who is very arrogant won't be able to look into somebody's eyes. No, it won't. It's not about this arrogance, but I feel it is more. What you can think is more than that. It's like fear, mixed with the kind of tension, like could be timidity, like so scared that he's unable to look at the man in his face. So you can take this option C, timid. And also a son who is unable to look his father in the face is ashamed. So again, these are actually relevant. Ashamed, guilty. Maybe when he is guilty, also a person or somebody who is very guilty of somebody's mistake can also feel that he's no more. He's no more able to face the person. Like you can say, even if he's guilty, but then usually it's like more fearful attitude, and so timidity. So this is very near to the option given. So which is why you can think this as the right option. You can go with the option C. There's nothing wrong if you can think of the option A, but you can see this is option C. She had a terrible night caused by an during her sleep. She had a terrible night caused by an during her sleep. So debility, it's like frailty, weak person. She had a terrible night caused by her weakness, so like frailty during her sleep. Let us look into the options given. Incubus. somebody who is who is mostly disturbed by some kind of evils. That's what the definition, I mean the meaning of it, where you're terribly disturbed by someone in your sleep. At the same time could be in your dream. So that is kind of torture you go through in sleep. Third, delusion. Delusion is kind of like misbelief, and you're totally, misleading illusion in that where you are forced to, or when you happen to think that it is a false belief, and where you happen to think it is true, but in fact it is a false belief. Fourth, obsession. You are kind of like completely you're obsessed with that, and so that is also so kind of where you are deeply in touch with that, and you feel burdened, that, and finally you think that is very much a disturbing factor. So she had a terrible night caused by an obsession during the sleep, by an obsession where she is completely stressed out, and is used to the same thing again and again. So option D makes it more relevant. So we can go with the option D. 27th one. Amy agrees with the blank that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Amy agrees with that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. A, perpetuity. Amy agrees with the perpetuity, that the grass is always greener on the other side, or penchant or maxim that the grass is always, or Amy agrees with fortitude, that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So one is like like which one you think? So perpetuity general means like you try to see there is, it's continuously happening and you don't see any end point there. So that is like, so if we fix this option there, like Amy agrees with the perpetuity that the grass is always, it's nothing to do with that. Next, penchant. Amy agrees with the taste, that the grass is always, no relevance. Taste is nothing related to the belief that you think the on the other side of it is always green. Maxim. So there's a obviously, like there's a kind of belief and principle, more scientific, that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Fourth one, confirmation. So you try to decide on that it is a sense. So Amy agrees with the confirmation that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So fortitude. Amy agrees with emotion, or the grass is always greener on the side of the fence. Fortitude, that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Emotional strength. Amy agrees with the emotional strength, that the grass is nothing to do with the emotional strength there, but it is only related to this maxim, like principle, or a kind of a notion that you believe that is always green on the other side of the fence. So that is the right option. Option C can be your answer. So you can go with the option C. Next one. Amy Frankenstein's creature was blank, detested by everyone he met. Victor Frankenstein's creature was detested by everyone he met. So what is this? Victor Frankenstein's creature was what? Itinerant, detested by everyone he met, or Victor Frankenstein's creature was anathema, detested by everyone he met. Victor Frankenstein's creature was cosmopolitan, detested by everyone he met. Victor Frankenstein's creature was mercenary, detested by everyone he met. Victor Frankenstein's creature was anomaly, detested by everyone he met. So what is like his creature was detested, not so liked by everyone he met. So now, this is the sense of it. Detested, you should know the vocabulary. So, see, my dear viewers, listeners, whoever you are, try to understand that until and unless you have this vocabulary, until and unless you have this knowledge, vocabulary knowledge, you won't be able to understand the sense of the sentence, and thereby you cannot fill in the gap. Thereby you cannot if you know the meaning of it, then you can easily pick up the sentence, you can easily pick up the options there. So it's like, the more you are confident of the meaning, then the less you have this kind of confusion. So you will be very clear. So now see, look at the option. Victor Frankenstein's creature was itinerant, detested. Itinerant means what? Like somebody who commutes, travels frequently. And so it is nothing to do with it. Like, because his creature was itinerant, traveler, detested by everyone. No, it's not. Because he travels frequently, he won't be detested by it. And second one, anathema. Frankenstein's creature was anathema, detested by everyone he met. Anathema. Is it like that? Excommunicated. Victor Frankenstein's creature was excommunicated, detested by everyone. Yes, hold on. We will come back to the option again. Option C, cosmopolitan. Victor Frankenstein's creature was cosmopolitan, detested because he's a cosmopolitan, where he's very much, confident, and he's very much well versed with the different cultures. He's very much, a mingling kind of person, where he's very comfortable with the cosmopolitan culture, where all different cultures, across different cultures, that you are very much in midst of that, and you are very much used to it, and where you can adjust yourself. So cosmopolitan, because he was a cosmopolitan, he was detested by everyone he met. And now that's not the answer. Next one, Victor Frankenstein's creature was a what? Mercenary, detested by everyone. Even mercenary, somebody who does things by some purpose, some gain, some kind of benefit. So that became kind of person is a little mercenary kind of thing. So that is not the answer. Frankenstein's creature was detested by everyone. Now, fourth one, anomaly. What is this anomaly? Kind of like unusual kind of attitude. Victor Frankenstein's creature was unusually detested by everyone he met. Unusually, and not very much in practice, and it is not very normal there. So that is one sense. Like, Victor Frankenstein's creature was a cosmopolitan detester. Now, like, you can take the option B. Like, Frankenstein's creature was anathema, detested by everyone he met. So excommunicated. He's detested means again hatred. Excommunicated means he's removed from that place, like he's separated. He's sent away. So that is the sense of it. Excommunicated by everyone he met. Right. So you can go with the option B. Next option, where you can go with different questions, like 29. Jack Nicholson was at the dash of his, like, blank. Yeah, you have to fill in, of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Jack Nicholson was at the detriment harm of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Jack Nicholson was at the pinnacle of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Jack Nicholson was at oligarchy of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Here, like, the question is, whether he was at what, like, somewhere, at heights. Okay, so rogue, we don't say, like, was at the rogue. No, we don't say we say he's a rogue, but he's not at the rogue. And repose kind of like restoration, like where you find yourself in a peaceful environment, peace, calm. Okay, so Jack Nicholson was at the repose of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Right, Jack Nicholson was at the detriment of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. Jack Nicholson was pinnacle, was at what? Pinnacle means like almost peak. So he was at the peak, pinnacle, he was at the peak of his career. So that is the tip of it, the mountain. So pinnacle glory, we say, right? Like almost the top, prioritized thing, like the priority of it, like the cream of it, the first best of it, and the highest point there. So you can take the option like pinnacle, at the pinnacle of his career when he received the Oscar for Best Actor. So you can go with the option, B as a right answer. Next, Ariana was outstanding. Ariana was outstanding as the moderator. She handled the intensely heated debate with great, and tactfully keeping the conversation fair and on track. Ariana was outstanding as the moderator. She handled the intensely heated debate with grace, finesse, 2, pretentiousness, 3, prowess, 4, succor, 5, aversion. So now you see, he was outstanding at the moderator. She handled intensely heated debate with great finesse, diplomatically and tactfully keeping the conversation fair and track. Somebody who is able to tackle, somebody who is able to, is able to control it, somebody who is very good at, good at managing things, like especially you're trying to be a judge when somebody, when two parties are involved in any fight, mischievous fight. So finesse. So you can take this option as a right answer. Why not pretentiousness? Pretentiousness, where you pretend and you think that is right, it's not so really. And prowess is something which you are very talented and which you show yourself very skillful. That is it. Fourth one, Ariana was outstanding as a moderator. She handled the intensely heated debate with great succor, with great aid, help, diplomatically and tactfully, keeping the conversation fair and on track. Uh, Ariana was outstanding as a moderator. She handled the intensely heated debate with greater aversion, hatred. You don't like something, okay, which you are not very, in good, terms. Like you don't like it, aversion, you don't like anymore, and you keep hating it. So that is the option. So now here the best finesse is the right answer. Is very good at dealing with it. That's the answer. 31. The class endured a loud and lengthy blank by the teacher on the subject of submitting a written work on time. The class endured what? The class endured what? It tried. It was very patient and it went through. Class went through a loud and lengthy what? Guile. Given options: polemic, bravado, tirade, heresy. So something is like, tirade. Tirade. What is this tirade? Like the class into love. Tirade means generally great, like voice where you, upset everyone and you try to be very aggressive and you try to give a very violent, you use very violent words. So this is what the class endured a loud and lengthy tirade by the teacher on the subject of what? Submitting a written work. This is a serious subject, and so maybe she dealt with them like that. Okay, so that is the option. Bravado is again kind of boldness that you have. Heresy is kind of like wrong, false doctrine that people preach. So I can go with the option D as a right answer. Next, Lawrence features what you first looked Now, first, what you first noticed about her were her stunning black hair, large eyes, dark eyes, Lawrence features. What you first noticed about her were her stunning black hair and large dark eyes. So, what's that stunning black hair and dark Lawrence features? Savvy, affluent, predominant, fourth, universal, five, malicious. So, Lawrence features, savvy features. What you first noticed about her were her stunning black hair, like Lawrence. What kind of affluent features? What you first noticed about her were her stunning black hair and large eyes. Like savvy means what? Basically, somebody is very good at technical. Somebody is very good at doing things. Okay, good Excel. Somebody anything for that matter, not just one particular thing. Any work for that matter. Very good at doing it. It's affluent. Lawrence affluent, very rich section, very rich class, very well-to-do with family. Predominant, the most commonly seen, frequent, which is very much honored. That is one thing. Fourthly, malicious, is very dangerous, harmful. Okay, malicious tumor we say. So that is it. So Lawrence features that you first notice about her were what? See, predominant. Lawrence predominant features. What you first noticed about her were her stunning black hair and large dark eyes. So, what kind of feature? Predominant means most dominant and common features influence of authority. So that's what you can say. Were her stunning black hair and large dark eyes. So that's a sense of it. Okay, you can take this. And the fourth one, generally so don't say harmful features or so like that. Next, 33. Whenever Tom and I would argue, he would, with his hands and body, to accentuate his points. Whenever Tom and I would argue, he would interject with his hands and body to accentuate his point, or infuse with his hands. Interject, again, you kind of like, come and interfere in between. Infuse, you try to insert. Gesticulate with his hands and body to gesticulate. Yes, it's true. Like where you make use of gestures. Okay, you express it through your body language. Fourth, whenever Tom and I would agree, he would what? Encumber. Encumber is kind of like obstacle. It's an obstacle for you. It's like a hindrance. So even this is not very suitable. Whenever Tom and I would agree, he would dash with his hands and body to accentuate his point. So that is the answer. So you can go with the option C. Gesticulate. Next, Ariana was outstanding as the moderator. She handled the intensely heated debate with great diplomatically and tactfully, keeping the conversation fair and on track. What is it like? Ariana was the same thing. The question, the fitness, skill in handling the information. So, and it's not pretentious. It is not succor. It's help, but it is all the ability to handle and manipulate the thing. So, option A is a right answer. Must we be subjected to your complaints all day long? Must we be subjected to your complaints all day long? So, tiresome complaints, or fearsome complaints, or awesome complaints all day, or gleesome complaints. So, what like, or maybe must we be subjected to your what? Like complaints all day, just like tiresome, kind of like tired, risky, fearsome, fearful, awesome, great, gleesome, joyous, kind of exciting, kind of wholesome, as everything. So maybe subjected to your what? Tiresome. Obviously, awesome, joyous would be, they're all positive. And here, tiresome and fearsome, both are a little bit contradictory. So, fearsome, must we be subjected to your fearsome complaints all day long? Not fearsome, you don't say it. Their comments are fearful, but our attitude is fearful. So, you consider tiresome. Okay, that is not very much healthy, and you look but you're not very happy and you look weird. Okay, so you become weary and you don't like it anymore. So causing weary there. Okay, so that is the right answer. You can go with the option A as the right answer. So these are a few questions for today's discussion. And keep listening, keep practicing it. And in another session, we will take a few more questions so that will help you understand, that will help you get used to the pattern that we are discussing. So you will understand if you happen to listen to the question words again and again. Obviously, you will understand, you will learn meanings, right? So in another session, we will discuss in detail a few more questions and try to practice a sentence completion question. So until then, keep in touch, keep practicing. Thank you. We'll meet in another session. Stay tuned.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.